Welcome to the comic zone. Welcome to the comic zone.
What's going on, nerds?
What up, what up?
We're all fucking back in the house here in the comic zone.
Yes, sir.
So
I wanted to bring this point. Bill has a short, like Reels, Instagram that he does.
yeah.
I think is, to me personally, it's his thumbs up and thumbs down. Since we no longer have a comic book store in Casper, Wyoming, I don't have a chance to go into a store and actually look at what's new. So, and I'm not the type that's just going to spend.
which is fucked up because I feel, not to cut you off, but like I find myself driving past that spot.
Oh man, every day.
And then
It's a real estate store now.
And I'm like, that's so gay. Like, what the fuck? So I'm like driving past there and I feel the urge to like pull over and go look at comics, and it's not there anymore. That fucking kills me. And like I said, I was telling you, I haven't bought comics in over a year.
And honestly, I wouldn't. There's a lot of comic books there. There's, of course, I have my favorites, which is probably like maybe 3 different ones. But compared to what I was spending when there was a comic book store to what I'm ordering, if it wasn't for Bill's thumbs up, thumbs down videos, there would be so many different.
To keep you inspired.
Yeah, like even certain ones that he didn't like, but I didn't know existed. It was like, all right, Bill didn't like that, but I know we have differences, and I might still. But just because of the fact that
Wesley Snipes.
yeah, Wesley Snipes has this Blade ripoff called The Exile.
That sounds about right.
I ordered it. I haven't read it yet. It hasn't come in. But I didn't even
It's
know
new?
it existed. Yeah. I didn't even know it existed.
So
If it
yeah, he
wasn't
wrote it.
How many issues?
I think only one.
one so far.
So it felt like Contra. Like-
Contra.
You know, the old school
video
NES
game?
video game.
Oh, I know the video game, but
As far as like, you know, the art. But
okay.
so in that, my recommendation as far as comic books. Oh, hold on. I gotta switch, make sure you can see it. It's too bright. I can't really tell.
Oh, Shiza. It's very much a Blade. It looks just like Blade.
Well,
it's not
hold up,
Marvel.
let me see.
But he's basically, Wesley Snipes is jumping on board to what Keanu Reeves did with Berserker.
Well, I mean, it's not a bad move.
It's not, but like I said, I haven't had a chance to read it yet because I haven't even got my copy. But from what Bill said, because we spoke about it after I saw his thumbs up, thumbs down video, but he was like, it's very much a Blade ripoff.
If
You
he's
know what I
going
mean?
up against Keanu, though, he's gonna have a hard time with Berserker.
I don't think he made it to necessarily compete with
He just
it, but
saw the opportunity.
he saw the opportunity and ran
And he
with it.
maybe was like, I want to write a comic book, you know, and I think
That's
and
not
that's-
cool. I mean, that's cool. Yeah,
exactly.
hell yeah.
And
But at least come up with it. Like Berserker's a different idea. Like this is definitely a Blade ripoff.
Well,
You
but
can tell by
wasn't-
looking at the art.
Berserker's not really that different of an idea.
True. But I mean, it's still not a blatant ripoff.
and if we're
No.
going to be honest about Berserker, we got to wonder how much of is it a ghostwrite? How much did Keanu actually write?
He probably came up with the base idea and then
If
let,
even
It
that.
was probably like
if
the
even
real
that,
writer, the guy. I forget the. I wish I knew the other guy that was Matt. I want to say something that's on build on Berserker, but I bet he's like sitting with Keanu, microphone recording, and just having a conversation, and he's recording what he's saying and he's writing it down. I mean, this is what I mean. If I had the
So
opportunity
he pulls
to
the
go, right,
ideas and then writes
then-
something
and then he
based on that.
polishes it up and presents it.
Yeah, that's
Matt Kindt.
hey, you know, and that's
And there's nothing wrong. That's
There's-
not a shame in any of that.
there is nothing wrong with that at all. I
I
don't
mean,
think.
that's like, I mean, because you can, when you're reading his dialogue, you can hear Keanu.
Reeves.
And I mean, it's almost like beyond just his words. It feels like actual, you know, Keanu Reeves.
Well, and dude, that if they do a show or
They're doing an anime.
And a live action, right?
Yeah,
both,
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
that's dope.
Yeah, we talked
And
about it on that episode.
that anime is gonna be nuts.
I think the problem with, or the concern with the main pop culture is people are going to be, oh, it's just John Wick again.
Nah, well,
But it's not.
it's not.
But, that's the perception
but
makes reality.
We say that a lot. This is my main problem with social media, and it's why I have to disconnect at least once a week, because social media gives everybody a voice, including people that shouldn't have one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are talking that know nothing about what they're saying just because they have the ability to hop on Twitter, hop on Facebook.
That's so fucking
And,
true.
and you know what I mean? And that's not saying that everything, like, we've been really good about saying, yo, this is our opinion. This is
always and forever, dude.
But there's always going to be those people that don't care about it. It's just, hey, this is my page. I can say what the hell I want, and I think it sucks, even though I haven't read it, and even though I know nothing about comics.
And I would also think that sometimes the headline of the story, we always say you don't read the article, they just read the headline.
Yep.
And then they react.
That's
on
a
that.
lot of people, dude. And I catch myself doing that.
We're all guilty of it. There's not. I mean, that's
much.
part
I try
of
not to be.
the. Yeah, I think Sean and I, as being from that
Being as
community,
close to the source as you are.
I mean, we do write stories, professional.
Right.
We get paid for it.
Well,
That's
you're
the definition
it's
of
professional.
Yeah.
That's the fucking definition, bro.
I'm a pro.
Yeah.
So we understand. We've gotten that feedback on all sides. We write a story about a best of. Why didn't you include me? And it's like we didn't mean to snub you or leave you out, but I didn't know.
Hey, man, we had a little. I'm not gonna. Never mind. Look.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I was gonna bring some shit up, but we're not gonna talk about that shit.
we will say there's been a lot of times, like if you ask your audience to give you for example, I do a lot of best of local restaurants. You know what I mean? What's your favorite place to get
People love that.
a hamburger? Who's your favorite tattoo artist? Who's your favorite hairdresser? I ended up opening up a shitstorm I didn't even know existed. Casper, Wyoming is 65,000 people. I did not realize we had 400 hairdressers plus.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I wrote that story, and there ended up being a fist fight between ladies. You know what I mean?
Who's the best hairdresser?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, for real. I had to remove somebody because they said, like, they were getting harassed. And that's crazy. But
Remove from where?
Remove them from the list because they said they didn't want to be, like, they were getting harassed from it.
Dude.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But here's what I say when people,
Vicious.
like what he said. After I write the story, if you see the story that I wrote after I already did a social media prompt asking people to say who their favorite was, you didn't sound off because maybe you didn't see it when I originally put it out there. And then you say to me, why did I get left off? Because nobody mentioned you. You didn't mention you. You know what I mean? So that happens some of the times and people don't realize it. People react.
Yeah, you just missed
They
out.
react. Yeah.
So I do want to say,
and that's shitty luck. And that puts a little perspective on something we went through.
So I do want to say
recently, but-
something positive that our buddy Stevie from Third Wheel Podcast got some great press in Oil City, and so did our other brothers at Hozone.
Yeah.
So they got some good press. We love them for it, and we want to support them for them. Check out that article.
Yeah, most definitely.
As somebody who works for the competitor Town Square Media, fuck you, Oil City. Let's go.
Hey,
sorry.
that's my dude.
By the way, in 9 months, I may ask for you for a job. No,
Yeah.
just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Fuck that.
You got to play all sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that has always been an issue for me is people, sounding off that probably shouldn't. Know what you're talking about or don't say nothing.
Yeah, why don't write an article if you're not going to cover the real shit? I'm just saying.
But yeah, definitely my whole point was if you are into comic books at all, and we're talking about actual print comics, even if you're reading them online, definitely check out Bill's thumbs ups, thumbs down. Because again,
Dude,
even if you don't agree with his ups and his downs,
And tell me if you don't.
Bro, and by the way, just the production value on those, dude, they're fucking great. Like they're always shot very well.
and I'm gonna say I'm gonna tell you this to your face. I was jealous that I didn't think of that first. I'm like,
It is a fucking good
it was-
idea.
yeah, I was like, wow, why didn't I think of that?
And I need to get you the
login for TikTok.
yeah, so you can put them on there.
Yeah,
too.
it's and not just the even like I said, I love the fact because it brings things to light to me that I didn't know about, especially since we don't have a comic book store anymore. But there's even other aspects to it, like for the production. There are a couple songs that I've added to my playlist because you used them. You know what I mean? And I remember I was asked on YouTube probably 3 or 4 years ago because every time one of those little quick what do they call those questionnaires? Is that what they're called?
Surveys or
Yeah, surveys. When them little surveys where they ask you a question, I got fed one, and this is hilarious to me as a 46-year-old man. They asked me, where do you find new music? And I said mostly from YouTube or radio, because I work for radio, and then YouTube, because my YouTube knows me well and feeds me different artists and type of artists that I listen to. But I started, I'd ask my kids, I was like, well, where do you get your music from? And I was like, well, I hear it on TikTok. I hear it on Instagram first. And I was like, really? You hear new artists that way? And I'm starting to find more songs.
That is how
on
that's
TikTok
how
and
people
Instagram.
promote, like Connor Price.
But I'm not even talking about the. But hold up, I'm not even talking about the artists themselves. Like, and this is even on thirst traps. So like these girls that are dancing, shaking their booty, and you know what I mean, or maybe they're even actually dancing because I watch a lot of dance.
That song.
But they use a song, and I'm like, holy shit! As a DJ, how did I not know that song?
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean?
But usually my time spent when it's just me and my chick, or you know what I mean, we hang out and I just play music, and then I'll hit just pick an artist, and then you let the music play, and it'll play artists maybe you didn't even hear of. So that's how I get a lot of my new music, is just through letting it letting it fucking roll.
See, that doesn't work for me because my shit knows me so well, and especially when we're talking about hip hop, it's one thing.
I definitely get that.
I get fed 90s shit and 90s artists. So Nas, even ones that are still, like your Dr. Dre's, your Snoop
But you
Dogg's,
don't listen to any new hip hop?
Some, but but even that, I like East Coast shit, you know what I mean? Because it's more lyric based than like beat based. And I've always been that way as a lyricist myself.
I've always been.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I like seeing, because Instagram doesn't just feed me what I already know. I get fed shit that I maybe never have heard of before. I knew, prime example, there's a song, and we actually play it on Kiss now too. There's a song by this beautiful girl from England. Her name is Pink Panthers, which I think is one of the dumbest names ever. You know what I mean?
Name.
But it's also England too, and Pink Panther started off in England. I'm not the actual TV shows, but
the Steve Martin movie is fucking hilarious.
It has Ice Spice. I knew who Ice Spice was. You know what I mean? Even though I don't like her. Yeah, thick chick. Whew.
Rapper?
Yeah. But I'm not really, she does drill music, and I'm not really a big drill music fan. But this song is more techno.
Isn't that a Southern thing?
Nah. Drill music, it sounds Southern. It's like New York's version of Southern. That's the best way to explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't that where they're it's kind of dance and hip-hop mix?
Yep.
Well, but dance is hip hop, but
But yeah, this song, I never would have found this song if it wasn't for seeing somebody dancing to it on Instagram, and that's one of my favorite songs. And it's definitely not it's definitely not Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? And I bump it because
we love fucking Wu-Tang around here
to death, baby, to death.
Every fucking Wednesday we wear fucking yellow.
Yes, sir.
Bruh. Come on.
So thank you again,
dude. Okay, I want to bring up. Because, I listen to a lot of Wu-Tang to the point where I'm like, I need to expand that. And then I discovered a guy on YouTube, and he does, mixes with, he'll take the vocals from songs, and then, he makes his own beats and shit. And I'm sure you've heard this shit.
He's not as fast with his phone as I am.
Oh, you know.
Well, what happened?
Oh.
Why is my shit being weird?
Because you want it. These mics are impressive. Picking up shit.
Yeah.
Or is that you?
That drum?
Yeah.
No, this isn't me.
Oh, okay. That's dope.
Oh, you thought that was my phone?
I did, man. I was like, yo.
Bro, I'm
we're on the Comic Zone. You're listening to us. We talk about comics and all that good stuff. It's just a freestyle that I'm be busting on the show for the ladies, the brothers, and all of the hoes.
Yeah, you hit the fucking fuck.
There you go. I rap better than that.
And now hit the dab.
Yeah.
Just bam.
Got him.
Do they still do that?
No. My kids are going to make fun of me for that, by the
think
way.
we're fucking corny as hell.
Let them. We're nerds.
I don't give a fuck. Listen.
Linda.
Listen to me. I don't give a motherfucking. I don't care.
ODB would be proud of you.
Yeah. Dude, we were talking about that Cribs episode.
Oh man, I love that.
Where he's fucking like they go to his house, it's in the fucking projects. He's like, "Oh, come with me while I get my fucking welfare check."
That wasn't Cribs. That was just an interview.
It was Cribs.
Was it Cribs?
It was Cribs.
I remember that one. He
And
got in trouble for that.
And he opened the fucking fridge and it's full of 40s and shit.
Yeah, he took a limo there.
I wonder how much of that was just like him fucking around.
That was definitely unscripted because the U.S. whoever does
like he
got
drove over
trouble for
there.
that.
He drove over there from his mansion.
Yeah, in a
just-
limo.
and just like put on a show.
Yeah.
Like it was like a bit, like you know what I mean, like a comedy skit.
It's like Borat.
Yeah,
But that was ODB. That's how
but
he
that's
was.
what he was. So he wanted to like maintain that image. He's like that old school wrestler who doesn't. What do they call that? Kayfabe or
K-Fab, yeah.
Yeah, where you just never break character in
Mhm.
front of your audience, and that's like old school, like performer attitude. So like you play a character all the time, so you don't want people to.
The actor from Harry Potter that did Snape. I can't remember. Alan Alden. No.
Dude, that guy.
He was one of those kind of method actors where once he was on that role, he would.
Well,
Wesley Snipes was the same way, even though they said it was almost overly so when they did the third Blade film, Blade Trinity, with Ryan Reynolds and whoever the hot chick is.
I
married
still
to
love
Jake.
that movie.
I do
don't give
too.
a fuck.
I think Triple H had a.
I love all of those movies.
I do too. The second one is my favorite. I mean, the first one broke
second
ground.
one is sick.
The second one is good. Ron
I
Perlman.
respect
I need to
you,
rewatch
for-
those.
dude.
I've got both.
I will borrow.
I always
you know-
respect your opinion, but like for you to say the second Blade movie is better than the first, well done.
It is.
Because I agree. That movie is bad motherfucking ass, dude. And if it was a part of the MCU right now,
Oh man.
oh,
Yo, even
and it can be. It can be.
Yo, check this out, man. Yo, every actor that was in that film, even if they had a very small part, like all blew up and ended up, I mean, Ron
yeah.
Perlman was already big, but he went on to
Jessica
do Hellboy.
Biel,
and-
dude. Come on.
Well, she was in the third one, but I mean in the second one, like,
Oh, yeah.
like the Blood Pack that were, ended up working with him, but they were formed to fight him. All of them ended up doing bigger and better things. Donnie Yen, who was big in China, like
Donnie Yen's in that movie?
yeah, he was Snowman. He didn't even say nothing. He was the Asian dude with the sword. Didn't even speak in the
I
film.
need to watch those movies again.
He blew up. Well, one of the other members ended up being in another big vampire film series. He was in Underworld.
those movies are fucking sick too,
Yep.
dude.
Then there was another guy in that ended up being in the Fast and Furious movies. Everybody that was in that film blew up. Even old boy that's in Walking Dead, Daryl, dude that plays Daryl, like he blew. You know what I'm saying? That was like one of his first like.
Oh yeah.
There were so many small actors
But
at
he,
the time that
okay,
blew
he
up.
already did Boondock Saints by that point.
Yeah, but
so
Boondock Saints blew up way after the fact. Like it didn't blow up when it was in the theaters.
is
It
a
blew
cult-
up when it came
that
out on
is,
video.
Like definition of cult classic.
Fuck yes,
That movie is amazing.
that's one of my all-time favorite
The
films.
second one's great too. I don't give a fuck.
It is, but it's not quite as good as the first. It's still great.
Yeah, but
Julie
it's-
Benz, I love her. As far as female actresses,
that
the chick-
red-haired chicken. Oh my
Yes.
god, when she's in the cowboy outfit, what the fuck?
I love that. Yeah, I love. If you haven't seen Boondock Saints, watch them films.
Have you?
haven't.
I haven't.
Of course,
I've never
no.
seen a
Those
movie.
are those are
I
classics.
live in a shell.
I know you do.
Bubble that.
He's over here reading comics and not watching movies.
You know what? I saw that movie accidentally one time. I left the bar and went over to one of my
Which
boys'
one?
house, the first Boondock Saints,
That
and I
movie-
saw basically the last 5 minutes and didn't realize it was the
And
last
you were
5
like,
minutes.
"What is this?"
Yeah, and I went back and watched it, and then when I got, I was like, "Holy shit!" I saw the last, and
Bill.
it didn't even ruin it. It was such a good film.
It's
That's one of my
I've
all-time
heard
favorites.
that
about
movie
it.
is so good,
It's funny. It's got action. Yeah.
and you would absolutely fucking adore that movie. I promise. You know what I mean? It's like punk rock in a way.
Yeah, but I thought he was gonna like Scott Pilgrim, and he didn't. So I can't 100% say he's gonna like it.
You didn't like that movie?
I think I watched it at the wrong time.
He should have seen it when it first came
I've
out.
you in a
enjoyed the
bad mood or
comic.
what?
No, I enjoyed the comic. I reading it in the comic form, and I also heard rumors that they're making it into an animated.
They are with the original cast.
Yeah.
That'd be
So,
dope.
so I think I would appreciate it in that.
Really,
medium
all
better.
everybody's voice acting. Oh my god, that's so dope.
But so, I mean, I think when I saw it, I was of an older age where I didn't appreciate that kind of story.
I can get that.
And so all the elements that exactly like you said that I like, you know, the comic book, the kind of the punk rock, that attitude, that gamey feel was there, but for some reason it didn't click with me.
But you were 40 something when you saw it. The first time I saw it, I was late.
And I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
And I was also watching
No,
it.
but I mean, he's right.
But I was also watching with Beth. And I think at the same time that kind of,
So she was dragging you down, is what you're saying.
You gonna get him murdered. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
Joking.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, sometimes it does kind of change your.
It does. It
your
changes the
perspective.
dynamic. Yeah.
And again, you know, because it's like a we kind of feeling, you know, when you. But
Yeah, when you're watching with somebody, I get that. That's
And-
probably the best thing about being single that you probably don't understand. I love being able to watch movies for the first
Hey,
time.
bro, I
by
still do that.
myself.
I still do that. Hey, man, like,
That's the big. Honestly, I'll tell you right now. That's the
we
best
are
thing about
able-
being single is what I. You know what?
well, we're actually able to like take that time and just be like,
Right.
I'm not gonna see you today, and just like, you know, do our thing, and that's what's pretty cool about what I got going on. But like, I was gonna bring up, there is a comic. So hey, you guys have seen Invader Zim, obviously.
No, it
What?
didn't. It didn't appeal to me. I've
But-
seen it.
but
I know what it is.
You know what it
Yeah.
is, right?
Invaders M.
You'd know it if you saw that the logo is very well known. You've seen it
Invade-
on T-shirts. I guarantee you.
It's about an alien who is sent to Earth, and his job is to, like, he's sent there as a joke, actually, by their higher ups. Like, he's such a joke in their society that they send him to Earth because they don't want it. They're like a species that goes around and, you know, takes over planets that they care about, but they send him to Earth as a joke, and he's doing reconnaissance. And it was on Nickelodeon back in the day.
Okay.
So the artist and writer is Jonan Vasquez. And he did a comic back in the day called Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Oh man, I remember hearing about it. I've never read it.
It's so good. And there's a spinoff called Squeeze. So if you haven't read this, you should go back, and especially you, Bill, I think you would really appreciate just the art style, the style of the story. I think you would really appreciate this. So just like write it down in your little
My little journal.
journal.
Journal. Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think you would super appreciate this comic book. And and anybody who's listening, if you haven't read this, it's so good. And I actually need to go and find it again and order that shit. And there's 2 graphic novels. One's called just Squee, and that's just a character that's in Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
I've got a question for you guys, real quick. If you could pick any comic book or character in a comic book and have it get an animated series, even if it's had one in the past that you would like to see in a new style,
Oh, man,
or to be
that's
done correctly, because maybe it was too kiddie before, what would it be for you?
That's a good
tough.
question.
That is super tough.
That's
This one's easy for me. I'll go.
go ahead, start so we can get the
Yeah, you get it
juices
rolling.
going.
This one for me would be Shattered Glass in the Transformers. I don't know if you
I've heard a lot about buzz, good, but about
Oh, okay,
buzz
so
about
what
it.
are we
Shattered Glass. The term I think was coined by Star Trek. It's where it's an alternate universe, so the good guys are the bad guys, and the bad guys are the good guys.
Okay.
So for the Transformers,
like
the
a mirror universe.
Yeah. So the Autobots are the bad guys, and the Decepticons are the good guys. They all look exactly the same, except for their color palettes are slightly changed. That comic is so good. I would love to see it done, but I don't want it to do like they did the last Transformers animated, that computer generated, which was still good. But I want to see them do that like they did the 1980s Transformers. I think that
Yeah, that movie. Oh my fucking god, I love that.
I think
movie.
that would be so awesome. I would love to see that happen.
The
'Cause that book is-
1980s animated movie is absolute fucking perfection.
First time I ever heard a cartoon character curse too.
Oh shit, what are we gonna do?
Yep. And then Ultraman
that's
said,
like-
"Oh damn!" Yeah, there was 2 curse words
It's at
in
the
that.
beginning of the movie, like right at the beginning, like first 10 minutes, and he says, "Oh shit," and you're like, "Oh!" As a kid, you're like, "Oh!"
Yeah.
And
This is gonna be cool.
by the way, kind of talk about full circle. That's one of the first things we ever talked about on this show. When you like first episode you were on, we talked about that. Full circle.
There we go. So what would you guys like to see?
Over a fucking year doing this.
Woo!
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think of like modern ones and almost going like deep. Oh, all right. I know.
Okay.
I know.
So tell us.
Silver Coin.
Ooh.
Oh.
A
So
horror episodic, or each
like
episode
a live
is,
show.
each show is a different episode. Twilight Zone, where every episode is contained in its
I
own
would
little
love that so much.
horrific bubble.
I love those kind of shows. I always love the Twilight Zone. I actually used to listen to the radio show, like so
Really? Damn.
the audio stuff, like on Sirius XM, and I would when it was just Sirius, like I had it in my truck. I would listen to Superman, and I would listen to Tombstone, and I would listen to the Twilight Zone.
Those tapes, I found a tape of all those old classic golden age of radio and those kind of stories, shows. And that's what got me into radio.
I love the anthology palette. I
still have a box of these
So,
orange tapes in my
Have
my
you seen
collection.
Black Mirror?
I've seen episodes. I haven't seen the whole show.
Dude, that
I've
show
seen a
is.
couple,
I
too.
love shows like that. I always loved the Twilight Zone.
I watched Bandersnatch, the one that was interactive, and I took
I
a
don't know
whole
about that.
day. It was a Black Mirror movie,
Oh,
but
what?
it was the first Netflix show that was interactive, like a choose your own adventure book. I spent an
That's fucking
entire
tight.
day going through each and every ending, and it took me like 6 hours. You know what I mean?
Badass.
But I was off.
I
It's
wish
really
I would have
good.
known about that. I
I don't know
that.
how the hell you didn't.
I don't know because I love that shit. Like Outer Limits,
Yes.
The
I was gonna
Twilight
mention Outer
Zones.
Limits.
Yeah,
but fucking Tales from the Crypt for
Yeah.
fuck's sake.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like all that shit is every one of those shows is fucking dope. I love that. I really love that style of storytelling.
And I love the Twilight Zone. There's one that I'll never forget. You know what I mean? Where there was this little girl that couldn't walk, and then like this quasi government agency had like these powers they were giving people, but there was like an alien that came, gave this girl the power to walk, and then the government agency was trying to catch the alien, and it took away. And like I remember crying watching that at age 7.
Dude, those
and my mom
shows-
coming in the room was like, "What the hell are you watching?" I was like, "Twilight Zone."
Get out of here,
Turn
Mom.
that shit off.
Yeah, I actually found it on YouTube, that episode. It took me like an hour to find it, but you know what I mean? I love Google, by the way.
I used to watch those, like especially the Twilight Zone and Tales from the Crypt. I watched that a lot, and that shit would freak me out, man. I like
It was so ahead of its time.
Oh,
that
yeah.
now for
I think
Hitchcock.
that helped my fear of the water. This little swamp muscle thing that grabbed people and pulled them back in from
Right.
Tales from the
that
Crypt.
helped.
That ensued my
Fueled.
fear, fueled my fear
Oh yeah,
of
now
water.
you're afraid of it more.
Oh yeah, that was like, okay, I was afraid of it before. Now fuck that shit. Something just touched my leg. I'm out.
Yeah, it's those things.
Oh, yo, you still haven't given your answer though. If you could pick a comic book character or series, like to get an animated,
To get like a retry.
maybe a
Is, that,
it
is
could-
that what we're talking
it
about?
could- it-
Did
it-
I even answer? I don't think I did. I
Yeah, you said silver coin.
so yes.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, it did.
But we kind of went off on the whole
Yeah, my bad.
anthology. Yeah, but still, I mean, the point is there. It would be the next Tales from the Crypt almost, or
Mhm.
Outer Limit. It would be the next Twilight Zone.
And the comic is that good. If you love that
It is
horror
so fucking
style,
good, and we have done an episode on this.
and there's like 3 graphic novels. I think 15 issues.
So good,
And
so good. Do
there-
yourself a favor and go read the Golden Coin or Silver.
did you ever
Coin.
read that final book that I gave you?
I still need to do it, and I
Oh,
need
here
to
comes
get
the here
that
comes the tat.
Oh yeah, but because this tattoo is straight out of the pages of Silver Coin. God damn it, I can't get my.
Take
we
it
go.
off.
Take it off. Take it. Oh, there it is.
So that is from my favorite issue and my favorite.
He's a little off mic, so it's him playing
it not
video
on there?
games. You can
No, we saw it. We just couldn't hear you. You were away from the
pretty
mic.
away from the mic.
So that's from my favorite book episode, whatever you want to call it, from Silver Coin. It's where a kid he's in the arcade and he's the broke kid, right? And the rich kid's got a whole stack of coins and, whoops his ass because he's able to play more. And the kid gets the coin somehow. I can't remember how, but
Or probably from like a wishing well or something, cursed wishing well.
so, but anyway, he gets the coin, it puts it in the game, and they're playing a game that is basically Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
And Spawn's in there as one of the
It was
playable
one of the
characters.
characters.
That's
Yeah, there's
dope.
a lot of
Yeah.
there's
And
a lot of Easter eggs in that issue.
It's a great
Department
issue.
of Truth,
Yeah, there's
crazy
a lot
excise.
of shit.
Yeah.
And so he is playing this game and starts whooping everybody's ass in the arcade, right? And it's showing it from the perspective of the screen. But if every so often you get shots of his hands, and his hands are more and more bloody as it goes.
Oh, snap.
And come to find out, every time he does a fatality, he's actually killing someone in the arcade. So
There's a certain point where it flips between
he's
the game,
hallucinating the game,
but it's happening in
actually,
reality.
but he's actually killing these people in this way.
That's dope.
It-
That's dope.
And so that's why on the tattoo it shows his hands from the perspective of the screen, and his fingers are bloody, and he's playing the game furiously. And I just added that he was wearing a Wu-Tang shirt because fucking motherfucking Wu-Tang!
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 Forever.
Yo, big shout out to everybody that has watched the Snapchat, letting them know that we're doing this right now. So
Hell yeah.
peace.
Also, I just got a new tattoo right here. And this is me, 100% if you know me. That's how they're going to find my skull
Bring it up a little.
in the future. No, I can't really. It's going to be upside down.
Oh.
Look. So it's a skull with headphones on. That's how they're going to find my head 1,000 years. And I was telling my son that, and he goes, yeah, but wouldn't the headphones...
Oh, look at that. Look
Yeah,
at that.
That's what's up. That shit is dope.
Yeah.
Mexico, baby.
So it's a Mexican
Sugar
dual
skull.
sugar skull, and he's wearing headphones.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And that's my tattoo is just if you know me, I always got at least a pair of headphones around my neck. So that's how they're going to
AirPods
find me.
for me.
And I'm telling my oldest son, I'm like, dude, this is super cool, bro. I'm telling him he's like, but wouldn't the headphones be already gone? If your skull's still, I'm like, and shut up. It's cool.
Nah, your headphones will last longer than your skin. So it would be your headphones and your skull.
Yeah, no, he's over here ruining.
Kids
Stop
do that.
Shitting on my dream.
I'm like, listen, man, it doesn't matter. It's cool as shit.
Kids do that.
You're lame. And
Kids do that.
you don't even know anything. You're 13.
They don't know anything at 20 or 21 either.
I know.
said that.
Bro, I still
I'm gonna
a
say
lot of times
40,
feel like I don't know
45.
shit.
Facts. Yeah.
Dude, do you ever feel like you don't know for shit?
Sometimes.
So I saw a TikTok of John Cleese of the Monty Python fame, and he was talking about you have to be smart enough to know you're stupid.
Facts.
Dude, and that
And
is
then so
seriously.
the stupid people are never going to know they're stupid because they're not smart enough to
And-
know.
Yep.
But also, they say ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, I disagree. I want to know.
Mm,
Well, okay, but if you don't
Sometimes.
know that you want to know, and you feel like you know, there's
There's-
gotta be security in that. Even
there's a
if
thin-
you're wrong as fuck.
There's a thin line between ignorance and stupidity. There is a line. It's there.
No.
But there's a thin line between the two.
Well, that's just I think the fine line is just willful ignorance.
Exactly. Yeah, there's people that are stupid on purpose.
Dude, and seriously, it's you have to be you have to be willfully not seeing
that
and
the
that's
earth is round.
I think that's where wars and shit start, dude. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
how do you not see it this way? And that, dude, that's a whole
But everybody has a perspective. I think, when we start talking about wars, that's also getting into politics. And
No, we're not going there.
no,
ever.
I'm not saying us, but what I'm saying is,
Huh, what is it good for?
I do these things called Nike's Nugget on Knowledge every day on my show, 8:30
Yeah.
plug. 104.7 Kiss
Shameless.
FM, shameless plug. But where I get most of my info for those is this site's called Uberfacts. And they said that most people suffer from willful ignorance, especially when it comes to politics, because there can be actual proof.
Yes.
Undeniable proof, but they don't. But people will turn a blind eye to it because they want to believe.
I can't.
Because Sean Connery.
That
talks
does not
sexy.
compute.
Sexily.
That does not compute.
And Bill
And
does
like
not.
here, that doesn't match up. Like I subliminal, like subtly or like subconsciously, I'm like seeing what you're saying, but I'm gonna push that off because I can't let that disturb like
your beliefs.
because you know what, people attach themselves to what they believe or like a tribe or whatever you want to call it, and it's like it's really hard to like separate from that. Or
It
even
shouldn't be though. Like, because
well, your ideas should be malleable. Your ideas aren't who you are. Like, you are who you are, and like to be malleable and be like, okay, I was wrong there. Maybe I can think in a different way.
Well, I think there's also important to think about logical thinking and emotional thinking.
There we go.
Exactly.
Because especially when we're talking about, you know, certain things like even race or even, I think a lot of even kind of the gender kind of issues, those kind of thoughts attack at their very inner core. And,
Yeah.
and I think it's hard to, you know, kind of, you know, relate
Which,
to.
you know, I get it on like gender and even race to a point. As you know what I'm saying? I'm the black
Oh,
guy
yeah,
here.
I mean, yeah.
But you know what I mean? But when it comes to politics, you know, I've always found that one funny when there's proof and you still don't want
That
to
shit's
believe.
a popularity
'cause
contest.
But that's what I'm saying. But I mean, a lot of that people
But
don't.
we want to believe what we're fed.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, and I think a lot of the politicians feed into that. They
Well,
give
you
you
wanna-
what you want to hear.
Exactly.
The
It's
same.
like it's like the fucking golden or silver-tongued fucking snake in your ear just telling you what you want to hear, and then you agree to shit, and then that's how shit gets fucked up politically and like in policy, and then that's why fucking gas is fucking $5 a fucking gallon. You know what I
I
mean?
drive a Hummer now, so let's
Yeah,
not
well-
even let's not even talk about gas. There,
that
there's
motherfucker's clean though, dude.
thank you. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's sad that I had to get in a car wreck to get it, but thank you.
Hey man, but it worked out
Yeah.
in the end.
There's one thing I want to. I mean, we were talking about politics, and this isn't politics. There's one thing that really insults me a lot, and it's people when they like. I know we talk a lot about like we've been talking about social media, and people that don't know, like talking about comic books that don't know anything about comic books or the characters sounding off. Like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. The one thing that upsets me even more than that is the
Sit down.
general public that talks
Be
about.
humble.
Ooh, like Kendrick. I like that. People that talk about woke. I think that is a very broad subject statement, and there's a lot of people that throw that shit under the rug. You know what I mean? Like whenever I hear somebody say, "Oh, that's woke," and I don't want anything to do with it, that's fake and that's this. It's like, to me, that sounds like, no, you don't like change and you want everything to be the way it's been for the last 100 years. You know what I mean? There's a big difference between not understanding or not agreeing and just throwing everything, "Oh, that's woke culture," and I don't want to be down with that.
Yeah, you can't.
Like,
You got to understand that nobody's 100% right.
yeah, you know what I mean?
And I think
maybe
that statement needs to be encompassed in the woke mentality. I think there's a lot of people that use it to get high on their own ego
Yeah.
rather than to face.
Well,
the
echo
full
chambers
facts.
are fucking dangerous.
And a lot of that is true too. But at the same time, you know, at our core, kind of we're talking about this kind of tribe mentality. It's literally part of our DNA, and so there's a lot of things that behaviorally make that hard to change and want to be approved. We want to be part of these communities, you know, and sometimes, you know, it's
that
not always-
positive.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of groups that, ooh.
See, I mean, well, a certain group fucking ruined white shirt and khaki pants for me. So, and tiki torches. So I can't fucking do that
Yeah,
anymore.
you're right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a little, you know, glazing over a lot of extreme points,
But yeah, the basic message, yeah, 100% get that.
but
We got deep for a second, and it was dope to actually take it there. So I'm glad y'all here with us for that. But you know what I mean? We love comics. We love nerd culture. You know what I mean? And again, I know I've said it a couple times through this episode. Definitely watch the thumbs up, thumbs down. There's so much shit that you were missing out on comic book wise. And we're talking comic books, not movies. if you are a fan of comic books, take a couple of seconds out of your day, check out Thumbs Up, Thumbs Down, Bill Swamley. It's one of the best things out there ever, and it needs to be seen. Point blank.
Thank you very much. And like, if you go to comiczone.com, links to Instagram are there. So one of my recommendations, I don't know if this is your exact flavor, Sean, but it's Little Monsters by Jeff Lemire. And it's a story about a group of kids who are vampires.
Yeah, you got me. I love vampires.
So it's
shit, I almost missed it.
all right. So this is my recommendation as far as comic books. This is issue 12 by Jeff Lemire. So
Monsters?
Little Monsters.
Okay.
So it is a group of kids who are vampires.
I'm adding that right now.
They don't know they're really vampires, and so
They think they're just goth kids.
well, they're just in their own existence, almost a little bit. One of them like never talks, and yeah.
Oh God, I bleed on the inside.
But
Is Lil Peep one of them? I'm just kidding. Rest in peace.
I don't know.
That dude made dope ass music.
What are you talking about?
Lil Peep.
Oh,
man.
I know it is, and I disagree, but yo, I'm gonna check. Honestly, I'll check that out.
It
You know what I
is
mean?
like emo hip hop.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
I get you wouldn't
Yeah.
like it.
I don't enjoy a lot of the horror shit that you're into, and I'm also I've said a million times, I'll be the first one to say I am definitely a comic book snob. I am Marvel, DC, Image for the most part. You know what I mean?
Like your soups.
Yeah. And I like my
Yeah,
Earth,
I
and
mean,
I like my Earthbound suits.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
No.
So I've always, you know what I mean. I will agree to that, but
You
I
are a
also
more
love
mundane
vampires.
superhero kind of guy. Like
I am.
I keep saying mundane, but I mean like
Non-powers, realistic.
Well, not like Captain America or like people that are more in the realm of relatability.
Military is a big one for me. you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That it could be accessible to
Yeah.
yourself.
That's why Captain America, and like I maintain Captain America, every single fucking movie and every show, every part of that.
Yeah, they're the best
That
ones in
is
the MCU.
Absolutely, absolutely, and like consistently good the whole time.
Yo, I shouldn't even say this out loud because somebody might steal it, but you know what I mean? I honestly think somebody could plagiarize the Captain America shit outside of comic books and make films or books about it, and those shits would be equally
What do you
as
mean?
successful. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about
You just take that idea and
take that
change
idea
it a
and
little
run
bit.
yeah, you know what I mean?
That's all Berserker is. It's the Wolverine story, but tweaked
Different. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're
tweaked
right.
a little bit.
more Mesopotamian.
But
Well, yeah, I
still,
mean,
but yeah.
they change like you change the time, but I mean, it's still a guy that heals really
Yeah.
fast.
None of it is 100% original.
And what?
Yeah.
And what?
but
are
it's,
they-
but
what
it's a
did the-
good mix of everything else in the right
Yeah, yeah.
composition.
But I mean, even think about John Wick isn't that much different than Matrix, except for it's in a real world and you don't have the
there's so much
sci-fi aspects of it. But you know what I mean?
The who made that? What's their names?
They did what?
Made the Matrix?
The Wachowski sisters now, but
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
the Wachowski sisters.
Interesting. Okay.
Always someone that you love.
Their whole thing was they wanted
Blur.
to make an anime but live action.
And that's exactly what it is.
It's exactly what it is.
And I would argue that as far as cinema goes, when it comes to, I think they've done it better than even like Marvel has with the connection between comic books to movies and video games and shit. Like if you watch all three of the original Matrix trilogy, you played the 2 Matrix video games, you watched the Animatrix.
Those video games were good too.
All of that shit, like if you just watch the movies, they're still fantastic. But if you did all of them in the correct order that they
the
came out,
Animatrix.
so yeah, if you watch the first
That
movie,
was one of my favorites.
then watch the Animatrix,
So good.
then played the first video game, you know what I mean, and then watch the second Matrix, all of that shit makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those games are dope. The Animatrix is dope. Like all that shit is dope. You know, another thing that kind of does the same sort of thing
Mhm.
is the Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah.
And then you get like the animated movie in
Yeah.
between Pitch Black and the Chronicles of Riddick, and then the
Yeah.
third movie, which is like
it's not quite
the
as
third movie's
as
like
in-depth,
eh,
but yeah.
but like it's still dope.
Yeah.
Like
I just watched all those again.
I personally love those movies, and I think they're Vin Diesel's best shit.
Fact. You want to know what? If you haven't seen Pitch Black, I don't know if you've seen it. I watched Pitch Black when it first came out. I think it was like 98, 99.
I saw it in the theater when it came out.
I missed it in the theaters, but I saw it on HBO when it first came out. My oldest son's mother and I watched it. And I remember it was nothing like I thought it was going to be. The trailers didn't give anything away. I thought it was about a horror movie in the dark.
Perfect movie.
And it's about sci-fi. And yeah,
it's such a fucking perfect movie.
It's a perfect movie. It's definitely, the first one is Vin Diesel's best movie ever. To you know what I mean?
Bro, no, I swear to God, yeah. Like when I watched that movie, when I was maybe 14, 15. When did that movie?
23.
It's like 1997 or some shit, right?
Yeah. Now I'd say 98, 99 because it came out before I moved here.
Right. Well,
I moved here in 2001. But yeah.
But yeah, are you looking it up?
Yep.
But I remember being in the theater and talking to my homeboy, like that was next to me, and I'm like, bro. Like this guy, like, and like you got to remember, you didn't know Riddick was the good guy the first time through.
Yeah, he's an anti-hero. I wouldn't call him necessarily a good guy.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about. Like so, and I was like, oh, this fucking cop's a fucking bitch ass motherfucker.
Don't tell too much because this is one I don't want to ruin. This is one of those movies that you can only see the first time.
Fair
once.
Enough. If you haven't seen it, just go watch Pitch Black.
It's on Netflix right now.
And then the animated movie is so fucking good. What is that shit called?
Oh shit!
I have it on DVD. That's how long I've had this shit. I bought the special edition of Chronicles of Riddick, and then it had the animated movie. But that shit is so good. And so this fucking like basically. Oh, and you haven't seen Primal either.
Not yet. Oh, we'll wait till Bill comes back to talk about Primal. You can start it off. Let him know.
That show, dude, if you haven't seen it, it's very much in the art style of like Samurai Jack, or it's not quite the same thing, but you get what I mean. And it's very brutal because it's about a caveman and his dinosaurs, so very much the cop and his dog story.
Right.
But I mean, it doesn't fuck around as far as pulling punches with like brutality, so you will very much see some shit you might not want to see, but it's also a great show in the way that it doesn't use dialogue to get
what he's talking
even
about.
Emotionally, as far as pulling punches.
Bill
it'll
told me
kill like the first episode, and this doesn't
so
spoil
brutal.
much. Both the dinosaur and the human lose their family,
and in very fucking horrifying ways to the same dinosaurs, by the way.
Yeah, so that's what that trauma unites them.
Yeah,
for the rest of the the rest of the brutal and
because
awesome adventure.
It's such a fucking good show, and I watched it so fast, and there are many episodes. I mean, there's like
2 seasons.
Yeah, and
I'm watching it tonight because I meant to do it after the last episode. And I forgot.
Just start watching it, dude. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? Because Bill was like really adamant. He's like, dude, this shit is so good. And I was like, okay.
And the reason why is like the different kind of storytelling. I agree. The visual and that they're able to tell the story without actually saying a word of English and not even subtitles or anything else.
It's mostly roars and grunts and
you don't need words to express.
Visual storytelling at its very best.
Yes.
Which is what comic books are. So that, you know what I mean?
A very important element.
Dude, I think maybe if you can tell a story without words, you might be one of the best writers to ever.
Think about that. How many times have comic books had those special one-offs where there were no word bubbles? You know what I mean?
And those are some of the best fucking like.
So Jeff Lemire did this book, May's Book, and there were several panels where he was just following a red thread. Yes, it is. Do you not like them?
No, I love IPAs.
Okay, then awesome. He's pulling on this red thread that's like a reminiscent of his like deceased daughter.
Okay.
And it becomes a maze, and it's a line that he follows. So he's telling the story of how he's following this line throughout the book.
That's dope.
And like Jeff Lemire is awesome because he not only is an author as far as the words, but he also draws. So I know he does a lot of the storybook or kind of framing of his comics, and he's able to tell the visual and the words together as one unison piece.
Dude, if the author is the artist, you almost can guarantee.
That's what
it's at a certain level that it's gonna be the
You know what?
if he
motherfucking
can,
shit.
and he can do it consistently.
Yeah,
Well,
this is why I
Sin
love.
City, Frank Miller.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
but even like my love of Rob Liefeld, you know what I'm saying, came from New Mutants and X-Force. He did have a writer that was there
not
with him.
because he loves feet.
Man, you are never gonna let that down.
Or cargo pants.
I had to fucking come on, man.
But you know what I mean? But I would agree. You know what I mean? A lot of those artists that also do, you know what I mean, the writing, that's so much better.
No, yeah, because look, it's,
Jim Lee too.
I think a lot whoever the
what does Jim Lee
publishes
do other
the-
than X-Men?
He did Batman.
No, well, I'm just curious because I never did read a
lot
lot.
of the X-Force.
Like, did he ever do his own?
No.
He did X-Men.
Well, he went into Image, right?
Yeah,
So what was his?
Wildcats.
Oh yeah,
And Wildcats was
was dope.
wildly successful.
It was so dope.
It had a cartoon. You know what I mean? I loved Wildcats.
Yeah, Wildcats was dope, and it was very much like X-Men.
It was. They even did a crossover.
Or no, X Factor. It was
He
like
did X Factor too. Yeah,
It was like X Factor.
yeah, because it was a government funded mutant agency. Yeah,
Yep.
but yeah, when they ask about my favorite artists, it's always fucking Liefeld and Jim Lee, and it always will be. I don't see anybody doing better.
Jim Lee, as far as artists go, that dude was so like anatomically correct with his artistry.
He had a good pee-pee.
Yeah. What the fuck, dude? No, like in Biodome, anatomically correct, and their fingers hit, and then they just take them out.
But yeah, I love Jim Lee. And as much as they talk about Rob
but
Liefeld's feet, man, I still love his artwork.
Look at his artwork in X-Men.
Oh, some of my favorites.
It's so incredibly good. And if you are like a younger fan of comics or whatever, you need to
Go back.
Because X-Men is okay right now. But
Back then, it was
back in the
classic.
fucking day, man, when Jim Lee was at his fucking...
Well, see, one of the things I'll say that I think differs from a lot of comic books now is like we have all of these variant covers where they have different artists that just did the covers. So you have all these awesome covers that look like posters, and then whatever's on the inside is fucking garbage. You know what I mean?
Or has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back then, whatever you saw on the cover was also going to be what you saw on the inside.
Bill has brought this up before, and like in some of our earlier episodes, honestly, like you brought that up in maybe the first episode, which is absolutely
one of the most
trash. Do not go listen to that.
Never go to the so like the Comic-Con episode where Beth goes and buys her one of her first comics, or I think it's Free Comic Book Day actually, and it's like, oh, I got this cool comic, and then like it was a cartoon, like I think it was
Oh, I remember that.
I like the artist and I can't remember his name, but it was very cartoony, kind of almost like a pop.
And then it looks nothing like that.
And then inside it's just a normal cover. She was
But
like,
you gotta
"Oh, I thought it was all cartoony inside."
Nope. Yeah.
I got a comic that, but I get what you're saying. Like the same, like, and that's the variant cover thing. Is like you.
And
get,
I think today's consumer knows about the variants,
and they know that most people are shopping by, unfortunately, what's on the face and not what's inside.
But sometimes it's when there's it's cover A, and it's like on the cover, like Amazing Spider-Man has done this quite a few times. Or it's like it shows Mary Jane kind of holding Peter Parker, and inside it has no Mary Jane or no Peter Parker in it at all. And everything, the battle that they're showing on the front or whatever,
has nothing to do with the story.
The dynamic.
I think you brought that up in the Miles Morales clone.
Oh, that's
By the way, this is a Jim Lee cover. It's a Wolverine. It's like the first time
Let me see.
Wolverine and hold up, he's going
Omega.
Okay.
It's
Wolverine and Omega Red. That is, you see that?
That's
pull
classic.
it back a little, maybe.
This is exactly what every single page looked like.
That's
This is
classic.
the cover and every single page looked just like
that's
that.
a key comic too. That's a highly collectible issue.
Oh
that
yeah, dude.
I do
Come
too.
on.
I have Jim Lee's entire run.
And
on,
what a beautiful picture, dude. Come on.
I think
Like,
that's the
come
first
on.
appearance of Omega.
Mega Red. It is.
Like, bro, come the fuck on. That's so beautiful.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I missed
And
that.
that's what we grew up looking at. And like maybe at the time, like I feel like we appreciated it and like that's why we loved it so much.
And I think that's also why.
And now with
Image was so successful. By the way, that was also another. Even if you hadn't said vampires, I saw Image on that book, and that was another reason I would definitely read it.
Yeah, it is an Image comic.
Yeah, I noticed.
it's like coming up and we saw greatness in that, and that's why we loved it so much. And like, by the way, when we were kids, to read that kind of thing or be a nerd was not cool.
It wasn't.
It was not cool at all, and your boys would fucking trash you for that shit, even though they were at home reading comics.
Some of them. I had two groups of friends. I had my comic book friends, and then I had my hip hop friends, and I did not let them cross. Kind of crazy. That's
So now
the
with
same.
like nostalgia mixed in, it makes it so much like you hyper appreciate that. That is absolutely true artwork, and that could be in a museum, and it fucking should be.
Thank you for saying that. I say that all the time too. I think Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld,
They
fucking
are
Mark
true.
Silvestri, Todd McFarlane, they belong in the Louvre. I think we need a comic book Louvre.
Yes.
Well, as far as McFarlane, he does have a sculpture of that famous Batman cover.
In the Louvre?
No, not in the Louvre.
Oh.
Louvre. I'm sorry, excuse me. But yes, there somewhere. I forget where it is, but
Okay.
there is a Todd McFarlane.
there's definitely
Batman
comic
stat.
book museums,
true.
but I think in
We need a big one. I don't care where they put it. You could put it in bumfuck Egypt or the smallest. Put it in Casper, Wyoming. We
And
need.
by the way, I want exhibits like just exactly like the one that they walk through in Captain America.
Oh man,
I want to walk through that fucking museum, man.
Disney. If you don't have it, we need it.
There's one in Brussels.
A word?
A comic museum?
Yeah, comic book museum.
That'd be cool.
So I'm trying to get the ones that are just websites that happen just to use the word museum.
That'd be dope, man. Could you imagine if we did a show
be
in
sick.
one of those?
Oh my god.
Brussels.
You know what we need to do is go to the library and do one of our shows.
Yeah.
And use it as a promotion, and like you could do Kiss FM and like both at the same time, like help promote the library a little bit and shoot an episode of the podcast. Get it out there that you can shoot a podcast in the library. They
Yes,
got
you can. So even if you can't afford to get all your own
I
equipment,
wonder
yeah,
if
you can
they
do it.
would let us bring our own shit, because I don't want to use
They might.
some booty ass microphones though.
They've got some decent stuff. The only thing that looked weird to me, I saw the pictures, is it's right up against a brick wall.
Ah.
That's okay.
So, but it had the kind of, they had a Rodecaster, if I believe, right? And the Rode pod mics, it's basically.
oh
like
yeah,
what you
those
got-
are like $100. They're not bad microphones.
I mean, they get the job done. I think the only thing I've heard is it's a little bit sensitive to the plosives.
Is it?
Pops.
Oh,
Ow!
So like having a windscreen or something is
That's
beneficial.
where the SM58, like everybody wants to do these podcast microphones. Just get stage mics. They are tried and true. They've been around a long time, and you can run over them with a bus. Literally, I've seen
Yeah.
This is what we use in the radio.
a tour bus.
And he's talking about different ones. Those are the RE20s. These are the
RE20s.
step up. These are what we have on the radio studios.
Bill's on the M7.
SM7B.
Yeah. It's not the B, because
No,
the
it's
B is
the
new
older one.
Yeah, you just got the 7,
It's old.
which is dope as hell.
Yeah.
We sound good.
Yeah. He likes that mic because it covers up the things he doesn't like in his voice, but I don't hear a difference.
They're all pretty similar.
I have a speech impediment, and I know when it's out there.
Yeah, but you.
So
could
have you
wrap up-
ever seen Bob Price's Neumann microphone?
Yeah. The
So-
one that's on the
Dude,
stand.
Did you ever-
$20,000.
It's like vintage Rolls Royce microphone.
I've never used it.
That
it's-
motherfucker needs a Rolls Royce microphone. You know what I mean?
Transparent. I mean, when we're talking, when you people throw as far as like production and music being, and what that means is hearing what the actual human ear hears.
Right.
So if you were in a room talking to somebody, talking to Bob Price, what his voice actually sounds like, it captured it. I mean, like,
That explains why that's the only one he uses.
I mean, actually, he normally in the studio he uses a shotgun mic, which is odd. So it's designed for like dropping like a boom mic over somebody's head.
Okay.
So it's really long and cylindrical.
That just shows his knowledge of like his voice.
It's an oddity how it works, because on the side it picks up the low end of the voice closer towards like where you plug it in versus where you talk into it.
Yeah.
So it's, for some reason
he knows the control of his voice to make sure that works.
It's an oddity. It shouldn't work. It shouldn't work the way it does, but it does.
Because I've tried to use that one and I can't.
No, because it's. I mean, if you were to use it, you should talk
studio?
into it the style.
An RE20.
Or you might have the Heil P48, which is basically its version of the same thing.
Are you using an RE20 at the studio?
I think it's the 27 or something very similar.
Well, it's the RE.
It's a very similar.
It
brand.
looks a lot alike.
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a shiny coat to it. I forget the model name.
I've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about buying one because they're about half the price of one of these.
But I would spend the extra to get that. Or there's like it looks like yours, but it's the like 320, and it's same kind of idea.
They definitely look alike, but you can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm. It picks up more of the higher end.
These ones are about $400. That one's like $450. So the M7B is about $450. So it's a little more expensive. I wouldn't mind like getting one of those.
Sometimes it's good to have a good different variety. I think this is good for somebody who isn't used to a microphone because it has the pop filter right on it.
Yeah.
But the same thing, all of these mics are just very forgiving.
Yeah, well, that's
that's why we talk about going back to the more stage microphones, the Shure FM 58s or the 57s.
They're very
not
forgiving.
they are, but they aren't. You can feel. It teaches you how to, if you're using your ears correctly, how to use the mic.
And by the way, I've been using that as like, we do episodes called Dragging These Balls. They are like side episodes or extra episodes of the Comic Zone with Chelsea and Vince. And, Vince has never done anything like this. And like, so using an SM50 58, like, and by the way, they didn't have for the longest time, I just didn't have like mic stands. So, and they're stage mics. That was part of the reason why I bought them, because you can hold them and not like hear your hand like shifting around on the microphone.
The handheld. And supposedly the Beta has better at the handheld.
It also taught him a lot of mic control. And like you said, it's not as forgiving as something like this. I got started out, I was born with a fucking silver spoon in my butt cheeks. Like, it was fucking ridiculous.
So, and I've never given you a condenser microphone yet, or a ribbon microphone.
Oh, well, a ribbon
silver spoon up your butt.
That was a mental image I did not want, man. You know what I mean?
I'm looking back like with a spoon, like bling. I'm just saying, like, I got started out and like, luckily I'm the motherfucking shit, and I learned this quickly. I'm just kidding. It's been a whole. My point is like starting with an SM58. If you want microphones, don't buy into the flashy, different color changing microphone with the lights and all that bullshit. Just get a fucking tried and true microphone you've literally seen people perform with for decades. And this is one. Ray Charles record some of his shit on one of these mics back in the motherfucking day.
Damn, I wouldn't know.
Sure. I mean,
This
it is
design
also
is
a
super old.
beautiful mic for a
It
kick
is.
for a kick drum.
Oh, drummer right here.
What this?
Yes, it's like it beautiful.
What's
also
the SM57 is a instrument mic.
Yeah, it's famous for hard rock guitar amplifiers. So that's this. It's
They
like
use these.
no the 50, the Shure SM57s.
Yeah, the 57s with it's basically the same microphone as the 58, but
It's very similar to the ones that you guys have in front of you, but it's like if you trim down all of the accessories and just left its very basic
they're all
core.
that's what's weird about microphones is how simple they are at the core.
Well, it's technology from the 20s.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
which
it
is
really
nuts.
hasn't changed much. I mean, as far as probably the quality of the materials and accessibility, I'm sure that's what's changed.
Right.
But the technology really hasn't. Even like we're talking about like broadcast transmitters.
Right.
Or even like USB mics. I tend to have like a bias against those, but I mean, that's what a lot of YouTubers and shit are using is like USB mics, and I'm like an XLR whore.
Honestly, I use for like when I'm live on air around town. So if you see me someplace,
You're using a USB
using
mic
a
on
USB
your
mic.
on your phone.
no,
Oh,
I actually have it's one of those. It was like
But
150.
you
when I
could
got
do
it.
that if you wanted to do a podcast, a solo podcast, and you had a USB mic. You got it for fucking however much.
$50 nowadays.
50, $100, and you could totally shoot a whole fucking solo podcast on your phone.
On your phone or on your computer with the with a $50 USB
and,
mic.
And actually, those mics have the capability of plugging headphones into. You don't even have to fucking have a mixer.
Yeah,
anymore.
hey, here's a secret. For No Good is me, White Chalk, Swagger Princess V,
Yo,
J Dollar. We did like our first album, half of it we did with a USB mic. You know what I mean? But the editing software we were using to do our music, you know what I mean, made it so it sounded better. But yeah, we did it with a $150 USB mic, and our music sounded better than a lot of the stuff that was out. You know what I mean?
It just depends on like your focus and drive. Like,
I want to go to like the viral videos of the kids that are playing, drums on just a bucket and a sticks,
Yeah.
or just like the bell things that have made from a coconut shell. When music can go beyond just using what you have to express that song, and just the
that goes back to old
Awesomeness
school
of it.
hip hop and shit. It's like that's what that old
standing
school
around a
hip-
corner, sitting in a little circle.
Well,
circles.
it starts there, and then you get into, like Outkast recording in a whole fucking their whole first album in a basement that had dirt on the floor.
Oh, wait, shit. The Wu-Tang, too. They did it in an apartment building.
Yeah, dude,
Motown.
it's like
probably 90% of every Motown record was recorded in
In
probably
a house.
it's not
That was
about
smaller than this. All right, I grew up in Michigan, so everybody I went to school with hated it because when I moved to Michigan, I was already 11 or 12. But I remember my very first, what do they call it when you leave school? Field trip. We went to Motown in Detroit because it was only an hour away, and the actual Motown house was smaller than this. It was a 2-bedroom house, 2-story.
Yeah, you picture
one
it bigger
bathroom.
in your mind
But
when
yeah,
you're a
it's
kid
not.
and shit.
And it's crazy, what they were able to do. You think about the Jackson 5 albums, Diana Ross, Smokey Robinson.
The shit
was
that
all
happened in
done
that
there.
motherfucker, dude.
So there was a quote I heard about is what we will remember about the most creative things and what makes them creative is not going to be the perfections, it's the imperfections. I'm totally
Facts.
bastarding that.
No,
quote,
that's
But yeah,
no,
yeah.
but that's
the impurities.
you basically got the fucking point across. It's like it was about the artistry and not like just
Perfection.
perfection and production.
Or it's about the wrong notes.
Yeah.
I think that's why people hate auto-tune and shit.
Some.
Yeah.
It can be used well, but people overuse it and then they lean on that kind of thing, and you're not relying on your raw talent.
But I mean, let's even
And
think.
raw talent bleeds. I'm not trying to but like raw talent bleeds through. And when you're working with the basics, the only thing that comes through is that raw talent.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when T-Pain came here the first time, that was the first time I had ever heard him sing without auto-tune.
Yeah.
And he can actually blow. Like, it was amazing. I was like, whoa, I didn't think he could sing at all. And
At this most recent show?
No, well, he didn't use it this time either, I don't think. But the very first show he did here, which was like 6-7 years ago, he didn't use it at all. And even like Wu-Tang, we're Wu-Tang fans. Even certain members of the group, like You Got, has done podcasts and said Wu-Tang fell off as RZA got smart, at least beats-wise, as RZA started learning more about music. Because the more he learned about music, it got less raw.
And he left us behind.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he left that raw sound
because
behind.
Wu-Tang essentially was the streets in fucking music form.
Facts.
Like they bro, Wu-Tang, without Wu-Tang, Tupac, Biggie, fucking Outkast, people that fucking like tread the motherfucking way, dude. Like without Wu-Tang, there would be no hip hop would not look like it does now.
Definitely not, especially not the street aspect.
And a lot of times I'm not happy with the way hip hop looks right now. But also there is hope. Like hip hop is not dead and it never will be.
Nah, it's just what's making money. I think money has a tendency to ruin a lot.
That shit fucking just
I mean,
kills.
same way with comics. Like
But
we're talking about with all
that's what we're
those
talking
things.
about.
Yeah.
That is exactly what we're talking about. When it gets too polished and fucking like you want raw. And like fucking Wu-Tang talked about that. I want it raw.
Facts.
Fucking Method Man.
Oh, baby, I like it raw.
I like
dirty.
it raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw.
Don't listen to us. Listen to them.
Yeah.
Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yeah.
Give me the mic so I can take over.
Off
R.I.P.
on a national
RDB.
charge, bon voyage.
Here from the Brooklyn squad. Wu-Tang
He even
Killer
censored
Bees.
it.
Yeah.
No, I
Sorry.
was just-
Yeah. My bad.
All right, we probably got to get out of here. This shit's going too long.
We're about 2 hours and 15.
Oh wow. We had fun though. Hopefully y'all did too.
Hell yeah, this was real good. Actually, the drunker I got, the better it got. Anyway, go to thecomiczone.com. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're on Spotify, all the damn shit. You already know. Also, go to YouTube, The Comic Zone Podcast.
Video.
Yes. And like Nyke said, hit up Bill on Instagram, wherever, and get those thumbs up, thumbs down videos. Those things are super clean. And on TikTok. You know what it is. Peace out, DJ Nyke.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace out, Bill.
And say it for us.
Keep it black.
Yeah, I was about to say it.